Welcome. My name is Andrew, and this is the Who Dat Discussion, a New Orleans Saints podcast where we talk about all Saints news, opinions, and reactions. Before we get into some Saints news, I want to introduce our guest for this podcast, Tyler from All Saints Considered. How you doing, Tyler?
I'm good. Thank you so much for having me on.
Yeah, so, guys, if you want to check out Tyler, you can check him out on All Saints Considered on their podcast. They're on iTunes. That's where I listen to them, but they're also, I think, on Google Play as well. And then also you can follow them at TClatch as well. So I think with all that said, I think we should get into some Saints news. So first, the Saints, they signed running back Mike Gillislee because as we cut Jonathan Williams, and then just recently we cut Boston Scott. So I just have a question real quick. Do you think that Gillislee, you think he would be a better backup to Ingram and replacement to Ingram that Scott and Williams would be?
Yeah, see, I was actually surprised by the move because I really liked what Williams was bringing to the table. I thought Williams looked really good in preseason. Williams impressed me. So I really thought Williams was going to be that guy we're going to run with. Now, Gillislee, on the other hand, has shown flashes where he can kind of ball out and look really good and impress. But my biggest knock on him is that he doesn't catch very well, and that seems like a big part of our offense. And if he can't catch very well, that's okay, because we had Boston Scott.
Yeah.
But now that Boston Scott's being cut and moved to the practice squad, I wouldn't say I'm mad at the move, but I don't really understand it as much as just keeping Jonathan Williams on the roster.
Yeah, it seems like they're very similar running backs. Also that, Williams is older too. I mean, and now people are thinking that we're going to bring up Williams now off the practice squad because Scott was he was put onto the practice squad because he just cleared waivers. I mean, just looking at it, the stats for Gillislee was in 2016, he almost did have 600 yards rushing, and he also had 8 TDs for the Bills. Last year for the Patriots, he wasn't as good. I mean, in just the same amount of attempts, he only had about 380 yards and only 5 TDs. I mean, the Patriots wanted him. They got him to kind of be their replacement to LeGarrette Blount, who they had in 2016, but I mean, he didn't really work with them, and then they cut him after this training camp in preseason. And, the Saints brought him on. I think he brings, a lot to what Williams does, a lot to what Ingram does to the table. But I don't really know if he does it, better than Williams per se. I mean, because Williams did play great in the preseason, as you said. It was a little puzzling that they would do that, but I think they kind of have their overall plan. And I guess Gillislee fits in. What makes me a little nervous is that we only have, the 2 running backs right now, and then obviously the fullback in Zach Line. But besides them, we don't really have much else depth back there. Do you think we would add someone from the practice squad like Williams, or do you think we're going to stick with the 2?
Yeah, I think leaving 2 people on the roster coming into a game is way too dangerous. You're not even just running the risk of people getting tired, but running the risk of someone getting injured, and then you're left with just Alvin Kamara, you're left with just Gillislee. It just seems like a way too risky of a move to do. I don't think we end up doing it, but we're getting closer and closer. We just added Boston Scott to the practice squad, so I'm hoping that means we pull up Jonathan Williams.
Yeah.
But I especially too, you look at our team, the way we run the offense, we split carries more than almost anybody in the NFL with our running backs.
Yeah.
So just to have 2 people there I think that's way too dangerous. I think we need to bring somebody up. We need to sign somebody. If it's up to me, I'm taking Jonathan Williams, but something needs to happen. We should not go into the first game with 2 running backs.
Yeah, I completely agree with that, especially because Kamara, even when he was in college, he never had a full load onto him where he didn't really have a lot of backups. I mean, there's nothing against Mike Gillislee. Nothing against Mike Gillislee, as I said, but he's not a Mark Ingram, and I think Alvin's going to at least get 15 to 20 carries, probably even more, especially if Gillislee struggles in the beginning, because he was only added a couple of days ago, and then you're expecting him to learn the whole system quickly. So I think that's another thing. And then also with Kamara, he's not a bad blocker, but he's definitely not as good as Ingram at blocking. So I think that could be trouble too at first until Gillislee gets.
The point you made too. I like that you mentioned Gillisley probably doesn't know the playbook yet. I mean, he's been here less than a week, coming into the game with about a week practice. And that's one of the reasons I keep you right now. I keep saying I want to bring Jonathan Williams back. He's been with us all offseason. He knows the system. He knows the playbook. It's just a good point. Who knows if Gillisley is ready to run with this team yet?
Yeah, see, that's just, I mean, look, he can be a pretty good player if he's ready. Now, I don't know if he can, come on quick and stuff. The Saints said, I just saw a report that he is coming on quick. But, I mean, I think they kind of have to say that because what are they going to say? He's not going to, he's not learning everything quick. So, I mean, I guess we'll see there. But, I think with, Scott added, I mean, probably Williams will come up. And then I don't really know how much touches they'll all get, but I'd rather have a split backfield to go with Kamara, which is a three-headed, but two backs to replace Ingram. And I liked what we did, what looked like we were going to do with Scott and Williams because they had different things to the table. Also, I liked what Scott did in the returning game as well. And that kind of segments us to our next set of news, and that's that Tommy Lee Lewis looks like he's going to get all the primary kick returning roles. He did get a lot of kick returns last year and punt returns, but he was kind of replaced by Alvin Kamara later in the year. So do you think that he can, keep the role this year, or would you bring on Kamara later in the year?
Yeah, so the thing with Tommy Lee Lewis, at least my biggest thing is he's shown that he can be a really, really good returner. He can bring kind of that flash where he can get you yards on the return. He can do great things. One of his biggest problems was just holding on to the ball, just simply catching the punch. So if Tommy Lee Lewis can kind of show that he progressed and can be a safe pick, then I would love to have him as a returner all year. The only thing, I mean, you're looking at, I think Alvin Kamara is a 10 times better returner. Yeah. I think he will be the best returner option. Mm-hmm. But is it worth risking him getting hurt? Injury, yeah. I don't know if it's worth that risk of hurting him, gassing him out, whatever, just for kick returns. So I guess we'll see how Tommy Lee Lewis performs. But I think as long as he can be safe, don't fumble, don't cause turnovers on punt returns, I'll be happy with them. I'll be good with it.
Yeah, I think that's just what it really is for him. I mean, I know in the punt return, at least the last couple of years, he did muff a couple punts. I think he recovered both. Excuse me, but he did muff. He doesn't have the best hands back there, but he can make the splash plays, as you said. He definitely has good speed, and I think they're going to do there. I just think Kamara later in the year, hopefully will be in playoff situations, and I think you put Kamara in there, when it really matters. But just to start the season, see what Lewis has got. Maybe he's gotten better on that as well, which he hopefully he's gotten better. And then also we do have a couple other kick returners that we tried out, and Lee Lewis won, so he won the battle there between Brandon Tate, who had a surprise we cut, and Boston Scott, who we just waived just a couple days ago, as we said. But I mean, to me, I think that just says a lot about special teams. To me, I really trust our special teams because when we brought in Mike Westhoff, I feel like he's just he was with the Jets for a lot of years and he was really respected by them. So I feel like I just really trust him and trust what we're gonna do there. So
100%. Yeah,
just what he did. I think he came in week 14 or 15. He just it was through the charts where we were, and then by playoff time, by the Vikings game, how good our special teams won. So that's really big for us. So now on to our third set of news, and that's that the Saints signed O-lineman Michael Ola for depth at the offensive line position. That's where we had to cut Scott. So he seems like he was brought in for depth with for when Andrew Pete's, because he is questionable for the game. Does this worry you a little about Pete's health or where he's at?
Yeah, I mean, I can see it two ways. At first, I was like, okay, yeah, this is probably a bad sign for Pete. We're bringing in linemen, we need backup. But the more I thought about it, if Pete's injury was that serious, I'm sure they would move him to IR so we can keep that roster spot. Keep Boston Scott and just sign Ola. So I'm thinking Michael Ola's on the roster for maybe 1 week. Pete, I think they said, was questionable, so maybe he'll be here. Maybe he'll play, maybe he won't. Mm-hmm. But looking at it with not going on IR, what's going on, I don't think it's too serious. And I'm starting, as days go on or time goes on, I'm starting to worry less and less about it.
Yeah, I mean, just looking, I mean, Ola did, he is a veteran player. He's played for 5 years now. I mean, so I think if we needed him for like one game, I think he could step in. But it seems like Pete is there long term, and he seems good. I mean, he did get hurt last year, so hopefully he could stay healthy and it's not like a nagging injury. But I mean, if he has to sit out this game, I don't think it's the biggest of deals. Because I think with or without him, I don't think we need him for the Bucs game. But I mean, obviously it'd be nice to have him. But if he's going to get rushed back, I don't think it's that big of a deal if we don't have him. But I mean, he's questionable. I think he practiced today, or at least was in uniform today to practice, so hope that was a really good sign. But I think he may be a game time decision on that. So I think that's a nice segue to transfer into now our game preview. So the Saints do play the Buccaneers this week at the Dome. Just some quick facts about the game. The Saints are a 9.5-point favorite at home, and ESPN gives the Saints an 82% chance to win. The injury report for the Saints is that Andrews Pete is questionable. They're starting left guard, and then also just not really an injury, but suspension. Mark Ingram is suspended for 4 games, as most people know. So let's just look at matchups to watch for. Do you have any special matchups to watch for, or?
Yeah, 2 big ones. Well, you can look at this 2 ways. One big one I have is their defense is super, super new. They have a lot of new players, and one of their biggest weaknesses right now is their safeties and corners. Mm-hmm. So this is kind of a good matchup to kind of watch on our side. Is their corners and safeties aren't amazing, and we're coming in with Cameron Meredith is coming in off an injury in a new system, so we'll see what he can do. And then now we have both Tommy Lewis and Austin Carr. So we'll see if they can do anything. And then rookie Traquan Smith. So I'm excited if our receivers, or a lot of them are relatively new to the team, haven't got a ton of game experience, if they can kind of exploit the less talented, newer quarterbacks of the Bucs. So that's one big thing I'm watching. And another big one is the Bucs defensive line is pretty stacked on paper.
Yeah.
Who knows if they're going to be that good? But they look like they should be good. Mm-hmm. So it'll be interesting to see how our offensive line is able to hold up against their defensive line.
Yeah, I mean, also, I just want to say, I know the Bucs, they've came in with some great linebacking play in the last. I feel like I just want to see the running back, see what Kamara can do, see if he's obviously, I think he'll be good, but just see when Kamara's out. Gillislee, as you said in the past, hasn't caught a lot of balls out of the backfield. Will he be able to do that? Or that really make us, because then, if the Bucs know if, Gillislee cannot pass out of the backfield, they're going to know when Gillislee's in, we're going to run, or then he's going to be blocking. So I think that's just really big to see, either how versatile Kamara can be, if he can maybe, play running back the whole game and just some breathers here and there. Or is he going to be, or is like Gillislee going to come in, he going to catch some passes, surprise a couple people? I think that's going to be big. And then also on the defense, I just want to see the Marcus Lattimore versus Mike Evans matchup again, see how that's going to go. Ooh. Yeah, they've battled twice last year, and the whole thing with when he decked Lattimore, when Evans decked Lattimore in the first game, and then tensions rose, and just with us in the Bucs, we had last year we had a couple of instances where not fights broke out, but a little scruffle here and there. So I just want to see where they are. Yeah, very scrappy. And then, just see if Lattimore can really lock him down again. Evans didn't really do much when he played Lattimore the last game and the game before, really last year. He didn't really do much. I mean, maybe that's because Evans did have a down year. Fitzpatrick, I think, was the QB for the first game we played them, so maybe that's why not did much. But I think that's what to see, because not only Lattimore but Crawley, and really see where the secondary improved, and I think that's going to be a really good test with Evans, and they also have Deshaun Jackson. They have a pretty good receiving core.
Yeah, they're super talented. I think people don't realize too, last year people were really hyping up the Bucs, and I was saying they're not that good. But looking at them right now, I'm scared. I don't think we'll lose. I want to know, but I do want to say I think this game will be a lot closer than people think.
Yeah, the 9.5 point spread.
Yeah, 9.5 seems a lot to me. And they're a pretty new team. A lot of new players this year. Like their whole offensive line is almost new. So they're kind of unproven. You don't know where they're going to be. And then Ryan Fitzpatrick, man. Ryan Fitzpatrick is one of the most confusing quarterbacks of all time.
Yep.
Because you don't know if you're getting 5 interception Ryan Fitzpatrick or 4 touchdowns, 70% completion percentage Ryan Fitzpatrick.
Yeah.
So I do think we'll win, but I think people shouldn't take this game lightly. I think this game is going to be serious.
Yeah, just the whole thing with Ryan Fitzpatrick. One year when he was on the Jets, and I was watching him. I remember they beat the Patriots when the Jets looked like they were going to make the playoffs, and he was lighting up Tom Brady, outplayed Tom Brady in that game. And they won in overtime, and then he came back the next week to make the playoffs, and then he threw 5 picks against the Bills. So I mean,
that's a perfect description of Ryan Fitzpatrick right there.
Yeah,
that is Ryan Fitzpatrick.
You know, one game he could be Fitzmagic, and one game he could be Fitztragic. That's what they used to call him here. So, but yeah, I just want to see what the pressure can do. Hopefully, we can get a lot of pressure on him. I think that would be big because I think he practiced with the first teamers, but still a backup QB, not having Winston. That's why I think we're probably going to have an edge there. I think the team morale for the Bucs is just not going to be as high. Coming off not having Winston to start the year, and also their schedule to start the year is really hard as well. So I think they probably feel like they have a large climb to the top of the mountain. So I feel like that, if we get pressure on them early, we score points early, I think we'll bury them, and then they'll be out. I mean, the score I'm going to put up, though, I'm going to say around 28-21, 28-17. I don't think we'll blow them out because it is a division game, and usually you don't blow out many division games. But I just think we'll probably come away late, probably with a couple of TDs. I think Breeze is going to have a really good game. I just have a feeling that it may not be the running game as much this game. I think Breeze may have a big game to Mike Thomas, and I think Ginn may have a big game. What Gins has really what he's done since he's came here, and the progression I've seen since he's gotten acclimated to the team, I've been actually really impressed with as well.
Yeah, 100%. 2 things I just want to note that one is creating defensive pressure, and that's like I mentioned, the offensive line for this team is super young.
Yeah.
For the Bucs, that is.
Yeah.
And that's a big question mark. So I think this will be a good game, too, to kind of get Marcus Davenport kind of involved against a young line and see what he can do, what Trey Hendrickson can do. And the other thing you mentioned was you think it's going to be a lot of Drew Brees, and I love that because I was reading something yesterday, and I don't remember the exact numbers, but Drew Brees' stats against the Bucs in the past 4 meetings has been ridiculous.
Yeah.
He threw 3 interceptions one game 3 years ago. Mm-hmm. And since then, he's had no interceptions, 6 touchdowns, or something ridiculous. So recently, Breeze has been tearing up the Bucs. So I like that you said that. I have to go a big agree on that.
Yeah, I just feel I think he's going to take it upon himself with Ingram out, and especially in these first 4 games. I think he's going to say that, let me put a little more burden as last year, a lot was on the running backs. Now this year, hopefully, I think he wants to put a little more on himself. Not that he wants to, but I feel like he feels like not put everything on, a second-year running back. Hopefully, with Kamara, you don't want to put the whole load on him from going from half to full. I don't think that's the right thing to do because he is still young. As much as he's a star and everyone thinks rookie of the year and everything. He still is young. So I think he still has a lot to learn. So I think if Breeze can just take it into his own hands, and I think we really upgraded on the receivers because last year 3rd down was our problem, the 3rd and mediums. And I think what we did in the offseason is get guys that really can catch first downs and get conversions with Ben Watson. I thought that was really big. Because when he was on the Saints, he caught a ton of first downs. And then with Traquan Smith, I think over 75% of his catches when he was at UCF was for first downs as well. So I think that's going to kind of be an unsung heroes for the Saints, especially coming into this year. I think we'll see a big difference there.
Yeah, completely agree. And I think that's one of the reasons we got Traquan Smith is because of how good he is converting 3rd downs and what he can do there. And one other thing is I am hoping that Cameron Meredith can kind of replace what Snead used to do before last season for picking up 3rd downs. Yeah,
that was just, last year I think we were just missing that Snead type of player, that Cameron Meredith. I think Cameron Meredith can be better than Snead. Watching him, when I saw him play, the first couple of games he played in the 4th preseason game where he was really big for us, I was just he's much bigger than I thought he was. I thought he was going to be Willie Snead side. But, looking at him, he's definitely a big target for Brees to have out of the slot, and I think he could be a very effective target for this team. And just players for watch for, I think that's what's next here. First I just want to say Kamara, to me that's a big player to watch for. How is he going to take the load? Because I really don't think Gillislee first game will do much. I think second game he'll transition to doing more and more. But I just want to see how Kamara handles that load and if he'll be able to. because I mean I don't think Ingram was out last year, so I don't think he got the full load.
Yeah, no. Yeah. I'm hoping Kamara can kind of fill that role, take over with kind of the running back number one main prospect look. But at the same time, I hope we don't go out and overwork him.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I hope we still get that decent split. But yeah, I'm so excited to watch Alvin Kamara these first couple of games. I am so excited.
Yeah, just watching him just in that preseason game, he broke off a couple plays. I'm like, yep, that's the same old Alvin Kamara. I don't think anyone thinking's like any sophomore slumps. I mean, and I've in fantasy football, I actually picked him up last year and I kept him this year. I'm going to keep it because I'm really hoping he keeps up what he's been doing. So on to other players on the defense. I was just thinking Demario Davis. I think he's going to be a big player to watch just because, I mean, we did vote him in captain. The players voted him captain. And just how can he take control of the defense? Because it looks like he's already a leader in the locker room. And a lot of people are comparing him to the Jonathan Vilma of the 2019, how he came in and took a lot of leadership roles, and hoping that Demario Davis can do the same. Do you think he could do that?
Yeah, he's actually probably my favorite free agent signing. He's a beast, and the one thing I like about him is he's so well-rounded. He can stop the run. He's gotten really good in coverage, and he showed that in preseason. So I'm really excited to see what he can do. I'm so excited to see him in game time, and I really think he is going to come in and, just like you said, and come in and be a leader. He's a leader in the locker room. He's well-liked. The talent is obviously there. And the linebackers, even though in some preseason games they looked a little weak, the linebackers are talented. We have pretty talented linebackers, and Demario Davis leading that is going to be fantastic. And I really think he's going to come out and surprise a lot of people and look good and gain some national attention with how well he's going to play.
Yeah, just once, he's a tackling machine. First of all, he's a short tackler, and he's very fast, especially lateral movement. He's going to get a lot of tackles. I mean, and, we've been, jumbling up the, linebackers, not really knowing where they should play, but I think he should definitely play middle linebacker, just the way he plays, because he seems like he just controls the defense. He's definitely be wearing the microphone and kind of be the QB of the defense. I think he could definitely do that. And also, you touched on it earlier, but I'm just looking at, Davenport, especially against, the young offensive line for the Bucs. I just want to see what he can do. To me, just put him at third downs. It looks like he's going to just be a third down rusher and have Okafor do first down, second down. It seems like they're kind of going to split. But I just want to see him, pin his ears back and just rush. Because in the preseason games, the way he can just physically manhandle linebackers is very exciting to watch. So it's insane. Just the way he could, the way he could bend the edge and stuff like that. It's so fun to watch, and just to have that, physical talent on our team, I think it's going to be really fun to watch.
I think this is the most excited I've maybe been for one of these Saints defenses ever. I can't remember a time where so many people were discussing us as a top 5 defense, top 6 defense. So it's really exciting coming in and having the obvious talent there, and Dennis Allen showed the coaching's there. Ryan Nielsen is an amazing defensive line coach. Yeah. So it's really exciting, and I'm so excited to watch. I can't believe I'm actually saying this, but I'm so excited to watch this Saints defense.
Yeah, even last year. I mean, we were I think we got much better than last year. I just feel and also we have a lot of injured people coming back. Especially that linebacking core last year, it was riddled with injuries. And I'm just thinking that Craig Robertson, who was started many games last year for us, I think most, if not all 16, he's going to be now running special teams. So just to think of that, is pretty mind-boggling as itself. I just think, how Manti Te'o played last year, and I think he was a pleasant surprise the way he can just shoot the gaps, especially on 3rd and 1s, 3rd and 2s, or goal line stands. He played really good. And then also, with A.J. Klein, I know some fans do not like A.J. Klein, but I feel like he's a very steady player. He does very he's average at everything. He's not the best, but he could do everything okay.
Yeah, and that's okay if you have talented linebackers around him.
Exactly.
Which we do. And, so, I like A.J. Klein. He gets a lot of hate. You go look at Saints fans and they're mad at him because of his last preseason game. But he's super well-rounded. He's a super smart player. He knows what he's doing. And one thing you mentioned is we have a lot of players coming off IR. And not only that, we really didn't lose anyone outside of Vaccaro.
Yeah.
No one that really got serious snaps. So we sit in there and we add Davis, Coleman, and Patrick Robinson.
Yeah.
Sorry, P. Rob.
Yeah. No,
And then we draft Davenport. So this defense really, like, I don't see a way that this defense gets worse from last year. It's only going up.
Yeah, it's just I mean, the returning starters and offense, I think we have all returning starters, so or additions that we had. But I don't think anyone left. I think the only person that left was Vaccaro, and he wasn't really that. To me, he was like the joker role player. So he got like his own role. So I think bringing Coleman, I think it actually for Vaccaro, I think makes the defense even better. And just what you said, just the way the additions, I feel like we didn't make that splash addition. We didn't get Sue, or on the offense, we didn't get splashes. But I think we didn't get what's his name, the Sheldon Richardson either. We didn't get Graham on offense, as I was saying before. And I feel like we didn't get splashes, but we got little cherries on top. And I think that's what the great teams do. That's what the Patriots do. They don't usually get the splash player, but they just get players that work in their system and that could excel in their system. And I think that was really good that we did that.
100%. Yeah, we filled pretty much every hole we had. We went into the offseason and filled. Yeah. And even without big names, we did it with talented players. Just like you said, it wasn't splash signings, but we filled what we needed, and we got a bunch of kind of sneaky, amazing players, and just made this team improve in almost every position group.
Yeah, it reminded me of last year's offseason where we added, not only we had the great draft, but we added, we had Ginn, who was a very sneaky pickup, who we got on the cheap. Mm-hmm. Also, we got Klein and those players. So I think those were, even throughout the season, we had some pickups like George Dotson did really good throughout the season. I know we cut him for this preseason, but who knows, if we have a couple injuries, maybe he can come back. So I feel like throughout the last season and just since the beginning of last season's offseason, we've really made some solid pickups, and I think that will continue. And I just really trust Mickey Loomis to make some pickups.
Yeah, 100. I could not agree more about that.
Yeah, so with all that said, I think we should get into some Saints Who Dat Nation fan questions. So really, there was got 3 questions, but they're all the same, and that was what was your most surprising cut from Cut Day? So I mean, it seems we had a lot of surprising cuts. So what was your most surprising? What were you most surprised about?
Okay, so this one I'm kind of upset about, and this is the one. It's not Boston Scott. It's Natrell Jamerson. Because Natrell Jamerson is insanely talented. He is so versatile. He came in and started college as a receiver. They switched him to cornerback, and then they switched him to safety. And then he played safety for the rest of his college, and that's where he really, got national attention, was looking good. And then he plays special teams, both sides, as a gunner. He returns kicks, he returns punts. So Natrell Jamerson is insanely versatile. He's amazing. So we draft him, and he's been a safety the past 2 or 3 years. And then we move him to cornerback. And then we cut him. So first things first, obviously he's not going to be amazing at cornerback. He's learning a new position. You have to develop somebody like that. So I don't get why we go and cut Natrell Jamerson, who obviously needs time to develop, but has a ton of potential, can help on special teams, and really could be someone amazing 2 years down the line that can fill many roles, can do multiple things. So that's one I really didn't get. But other than that, I understand. But that Natrell Jamerson one, that's the one I really didn't agree with at all.
Yeah, just they moved Jamerson to cornerback, and then they moved Cameron Moore, who we also gave up. Then we moved him to safety, so they did like a little flip flop, and they cut both. So I just feel like that was just, a little puzzling, I guess. It is what it is. But it seemed like they just wanted to keep the best 53 men, which I kind of get. But to me, to cut, I think we cut basically half our draft. To do that, I think is, it's puzzling. Maybe, obviously I would like to keep the 53 best men and just hope that, hopefully everyone comes to the practice squad. Obviously that wasn't the case, but we kind of knew that we had a very deep roster, and then people were going to, pick off our roster and that's really the first time it's happened in a very long time. But, the most puzzling to me, I felt like, it wasn't, and the running backs was puzzling, and that was up there, and so it was, Brandon Tate, who I thought he was definitely going to make the team. Just that's what it sounded like. But I'm going to go linebacker, who they just cut. They didn't cut him on cut day, but they cut him a little after, and that's Nate Stupar. I just feel like, I mean, what he did in the preseason, which he did amazing. I mean, that game against I know it was the fourth preseason game, doesn't really matter as much, but he played amazing. He basically, I think he had a, interception, fumble, and like 3 sacks. To do that, I think that kind of puts you onto the roster. And he probably was doing that in practice. A lot of the practices were closed. We couldn't see that. And just, his story coming back from a major injury. And I think, he's a special team ace as well. I just didn't understand, and nothing against like JT Gray or anything, because I haven't really seen him play that much on special teams, only, the preseason, a couple of games. But, I mean, to keep, an undrafted free agent, for special teams over Stupar didn't really make much sense.
Yeah, completely. I think Gray is like the biggest questionable one that we kept.
Mm-hmm.
Also, the fact that we cut Stupar and Boston Scott and have, I think, like 10 offensive linemen right now in a ridiculous amount of defensive backs.
Yeah.
But I will say, I think the reasoning I have behind this is I think this team right now is going 100% all in on this season.
Yeah.
Just going all in on a Super Bowl. Just like you said, they're keeping the best 53 on the roster. Sometimes it is better to keep the best 48 on the roster and then use those extra spots to develop players that may be good down the road.
Yeah.
And I think the Saints are going all in on this year, taking all 53 best spots available, not looking in the future, and really just going all in on a Super Bowl this year.
Yeah, I feel like that's big. Look, we're definitely going to win now. I know we picked up Teddy, but only 2 more years left of Breeze, and I think we could still win with Bridgewater. But I think obviously the prime spot is going to be winning with Breeze. See if we can sign Teddy, hopefully to a not that big of a contract, so we could build around him, which I think that could be big. But if we have 2 years with Breeze, maybe a little more, maybe a little less, maybe only 1 year. So I think they're really just going to go all in for it. Also, I feel like how the team's built around Breeze, we have a great offensive line, so that's really going to help Breeze out, especially even if he ages more. He's going to have a lot of time to throw the ball, and then just the running backs. Once Ingram comes back, I just see this team, just playing, just the offense being at full strength. I feel like the only thing, to me, like last year on that offense, I think we were amazing offense, obviously, but we weren't just like, I think we were like that one explosive piece away, just that one play away, I feel like sometimes. And even like against the Vikings, I know the whole play with the Minnesota Miracle, but even if you back that up, so like before the field goal, we had like a 3rd and 1 and we got stuffed. And if we made that first down, converted that play, we probably would have won the game. So I think we're just like that. We were that one piece away, and I really think we picked that up. And the defense, as we said, should be really solid. So I'm really excited for this year.
No, yeah, I literally could not agree more with you. And I think this year will be one of the funnest years as a Saints fan that most people will ever have. I think this year will be an absolute blast, and I am beyond excited for it.
Yeah, so I think with that, I think it's time to wrap up this podcast. So, Tyler, where can they find your content?
Hey, you can visit us at allsaintsconsider.com, at allsaintsblog on Twitter. Definitely check out our podcast. It's on Google Music, SoundCloud, iTunes, CastBox. Definitely check it out. And you can follow me personally on Twitter at @tclatch. And yeah, that's about it.
All right, and also if you want to, if you like this episode and you've watched the other episodes and you haven't followed us on Twitter, at the Who Dat Discussion, we are at the Who Dat Discussion. On Podomatic, we are at the Who Dat Discussion as well, and on Instagram, we are at Who Dat Discussion. And also, we are on iTunes, Google Play, and YouTube. So on there, please subscribe, comment, and leave reviews. That's just really helpful because we're still a growing podcast and that stuff. But I just want to say thank you to Tyler. And
thank you again. Thank you so much for having me. It was a blast.
Yeah, same here. I just wanted to say thank you, prove 'em right, and who dat?
Who dat?
Yep.